Do you remember your name? Do you know where you are? What month it is? What year?
Whatever you're running from, won't find you here.
So, are you from Cult in the Woods or something?
The last Exorcism to R, the last Exorcism, or so we thought it was until we made some money, so we decided to make a next one.
Well, the last but one Exorcism.
Yeah. You a goddamn lie movie. You a lie.
I wish I could add "I hope" at the end of that title, because after tonight, I'm like, they should have left it alone.
Man, it's too late for this shit.
But to be fair, it ain't all that much of an exorcism.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's because an actual exorcist exercised that script. I mean,
Of any plot, character.
Any kind of interesting thing, period.
I mean, it's too late for this shit, man. It's too late for this.
It's way too late.
I love how often we're like, man, somebody needs to cut editor and like trim this down and tighten it up. This editor went nuts and took everything out.
He did.
I'm not sure, even if you were to, like, we cut out the excess stuff and just get to the horror, I'm like, what would you cut to? I don't even know.
I don't think the editor cut anything out. I think he added some stuff. But it was all the stuff with the people just walking around the set, just looking, doing nothing.
I know.
Just staring at
standing
shit.
around. That's what this movie should have been called, standing around.
Or just noises.
Now, you didn't see the first one, Leon,
No, I did not see the first one.
But you saw it.
I did. We liked the first one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having a bit of problems with the ending, thinking it was just a little too silly.
We all did.
Too absurd.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it actually kind of sold its premise pretty well, and it had twists in it that you didn't see coming.
See, that's the problem with this movie. We liked it until it got to the ending, which was stupid and it was silly.
Yeah.
And it's the ending that leads on to this movie. Yeah, this takes place.
Okay, how's the last one end? That you should be able to tell us that.
Well, I'm not going to say how the last one, in case somebody wants to see it. I mean, I could do that whole thing of come back, but I'm not going to do that to these people because, for one thing, it's too goddamn late. But I've sat here long enough watching a dumb movie, and I got to talk about it. But I will say this. For anybody who's seen the last one, it takes place right after that where, if you knew what happened to the girl, what was her name? Sweetser, Nell Sweetser. Yeah, played by Ashley Bell, who, oddly enough, looks like Jamie Bell with a wig on. No relation, though. Look at her next time. But if you remember the last one, she was a possessed girl, and the last one was a found footage movie, and it ended in the woods. Now, this one begins with her coming out of the woods, all balled up on somebody's kitchen counter, disturbing people in their sleep. Yeah. This guy's about to get up with his wife, have some sex, and she's in there banging noises and making waffles and shit.
I know. At first, I was like, wait, is this Mama? I thought, am I in the right theater?
Yeah,
like,
it kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
Am I dead?
No. You're in a hospital in New Orleans. There was a fire. They're still sorting through the remains, but it appears you're the only one left.
He's still out there.
Who is? Who's still out there?
But they find her. She's not hurting anybody. She's just weird, dirty. The ass is all shitty and everything. They
She does scratch the hell out of that dude.
Oh, she does. Yeah. She does.
Because I was expecting him to turn a corner and there'd be a raccoon there.
Well, which is the first of an endless series of how many horror movies have we already seen this horror gag in, where like the person gets out of bed, the person comes back to bed next to the person, or so you think, as they're like lying next to him. Honey, it's cold. Can you get the sheets? Were you talking to me?
Yeah. She comes out the bathroom.
Who's in the bed?
If it's not you, then
Mr. Raccoon.
Oh, even the raccoon is like, hey, I'm standing right here.
I'm right here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
He's running off with the garbage. Hey, see you. I don't know who that bitch is in your bed. But yeah, they take her, they clean her up, they put her in the girls' home. They put her in a mental institution, they put her in a girls' home. And they try to get back on track. And they try to get her a job. They try to say, hey, we're going to work with you. All this all this supernatural stuff. It ain't real.
That was bullshit.
That's bullshit. Yeah, you in the real world now. We're going to help you get through it.
Like, I saw the first movie. That was just a bunch of bullshit.
But she ain't letting it go. She's still hearing things. She's still seeing things.
She wants to believe them, to be clear, that it was bullshit that was in her mind, because who wouldn't, right? Be like, no, that was obviously this cult fucked with my head, and like there was no devil or anything like that. It was just manipulation. She goes, okay, I'm ready to be healed. And then the devil goes, hello.
Yeah, she'd be okay if those goddamn people from Mardi Gras would just stop staring at her because that's where it takes place in New Orleans, and everywhere she goes, she's fine, but there's always somebody wearing some beads or wearing a Mardi Gras mask, or
don't forget the silver statue.
The people who stand there and don't move until you do something. All of them are stalking her.
It's like
that was my favorite. I love that.
It's like everyone is doing their best Michael Myers impersonation.
You get the feeling that if she just show her tits, they throw her some beads and leave her alone.
All the devil wants.
If only we can find them.
We're not being sexist, people. That's Mardi Gras. And the devil like titties just as much as anybody else. But I'm going to tell you something. See, all these people talking about Paranormal Activities, Deep and Great, and all these other movies. You take away that found footage shit, you take away that gimmick they got, you ain't got no movie. Take away that shaky cam and say, hey, make a movie now. No, make a real movie.
I don't think that was the problem. I think that this is just a bad movie any which way you look at it. I mean, every scare in here, and I use the quote marks in the air, is like ones that have been going on since the 70s. Like the oldest, most predictable, dull, and the few moments there's even a little bit of gore or a special effect, it's like so see-through and fake and CG. I mean, there's a sequence towards the end with lots of spontaneous fire where it looks like literally every fire effect is just like the exact same fire effect we just saw, just superimposed on top of something else.
It looked like one of those old video games, like something cheap, like Postal.
And you're like, I mean, the first one was kind of a hit. You tell me you couldn't even get a fire effect right? Or no, wait, you could, you just didn't give a shit.
Well, it's unfortunate because I liked how you guys jumped to the very end of the movie because honestly, that was the only time I found anything interesting going on. And it's too bad that was hindered by such bad visual effects because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, you would have actually had something really kind of cool and scary if you just used practical effects. But unfortunately, the rest of the movie, though, doesn't make up for that last scene. That last scene, honestly, doesn't make up for the rest of the movie because, I mean, the movie is just completely devoid of any kind of characterization or idea what's going on besides just characters popping up only to stand and scare this girl into reminding her of what happened in the first movie. And I mean, and it's so bare bones that, I mean, it is you are just wondering, okay, something has to happen, but halfway through the movie, and I'm talking about at the hour mark, Miss Cleo comes in to give you some very much needed exposition just to let you know why you're sitting in the theater. And even that goes nowhere.
Well, that's the problem with this film is that there's actually some core ideas floating around that you're like, this could have been a pretty cool idea if you had bothered to do anything with it. Like, hey, let's bring in voodoo this time and have Santeria and like have them deal with it. And they're like, shit, man, what the fuck is it's like throwing a glass of water on a raging fire. You're
honestly, I just felt like this movie is an empty suit. And if anything, like where it ends felt like, okay, this is the beginning of what's going to be a movie. It's like somebody wrote a beginning. Okay, I got the opening for the next movie, and then somebody else took and said like the opening, dude, we'll just make this the whole thing. And it's like, no, I had a bunch of stuff, cool shit that was going to come later. It's like we're not concerned with that.
No,
what we have here,
we're trying to save money.
Where it goes from where it starts to where it ends, I'm like, okay, that's a first act. Like from there, that point, the fire driving off, it's like, okay, now is where it gets going. Like, nope, sorry.
Well,
game over.
I'm gonna stick to the whole thing of found footage. It works because you can do a lot more with less in a found footage movie. You can stretch that shit out.
Well, clearly.
And you don't have to show any effects or anything because the whole thing of the shaky cam going down dark hallways and stuff, that kind of, it makes you feel like you're there more than anything. It's a gimmick, and it's a gimmick that can be used wisely, especially in horror and science fiction. And the reason why I say this is because the whole time I'm watching this movie, the more I watch it, the more I'm bored by it, and the more I'm thinking that this has no purpose. It takes me back to the sequel to the Blair Witch Project.
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project was a found footage movie. That was an hour and a half of people walking through the woods. It wasn't until you got down to that basement and saw some hands on the wall.
Yeah.
And hands on the wall. We didn't see shit but a dude pissing in the corner and some hands on the wall. Like, ooh, that's scary. You take that shit away. You try to make a real movie. Bring out Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. you get some bullshit.
That being said, from the record, I think Blair Witch 1 was some fucking bullshit.
Hey, now I will defend that movie to the core of what it did.
I'm
for
right
me.
there with you.
I mean,
Thank you.
I'm glad it made you guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm glad y'all liked it, but I thought it was some
Now,
primo
co-host, we know
bullshit.
these motherfuckers were scared.
I know.
They're trying to act all brave and everything now. We know.
I know, I like that's. I'm glad you pointed that out too, because that was going to be my next thing. Just knowing that the huge failure that was Blair Witch 2, because I mean that was a big movie, and I think that was a big movie on everyone's radar, because regardless if you like the movie or not, that first Blair Witch was a huge phenomenon. I mean, it was something groundbreaking. It was something that
it's the one that started it all.
Yes, it is.
You talk about Blair Witch 2. I kept thinking about The Exorcist 2, quite frankly, because remember the first Exorcist, one of the scariest movies ever made. It had a lot going for you, edge of your seat. I mean, last Exorcism, pretty scary through a lot of it. This one, just like Exorcist 2, long stretches of ain't shit happening except flashing back to what happened in the first movie.
Yeah, but you see where I'm
making
making
Exorcist 2.
But you see where I'm
about
coming
that Blair
from.
Witch thing. Also, I was like, did you not learn that you don't make a real movie after making a found footage
No,
movie?
you don't. You stick with that. Because
Or just don't make a sequel at all, preferably.
just leave it the fuck alone.
Oh, they couldn't though, because it obviously made some money. So Eli Roth is still a producer on this. So he still needs to eat. He ain't doing no more of his hospital movies.
No, he don't.
He should have been feeding the script.
He needs to eat. I need to sleep. I could have been in bed by now. I need to be watching this because
Quentin Tarantino was like, seriously, dude, you got to do your own work and stop coming over to my house to eat.
Yeah, go make Last Exorcist or whatever. I was joking, man. Don't do that. No, what disappoints me with this is that this girl, this actress Ashley Bell, and she was incredible.
She's
in the
really
last movie.
talented.
She was amazing in the last movie. And put in this movie, she's walking around like she don't even know what the fuck she's doing there.
She doesn't. She looks as lost, like a deer in the headlights.
I thought she was as good as anything could be in this movie, and I thought I had no problem with her performance. It was just, I was like, well, why don't you give me something to do?
Yeah, they gave nobody anything to do. There's another problem with this is that it's a lot of characters in here, and no one has any characterization. They either are bad actors, or they're not on the screen long enough, or they just introduce people. That Miss Cleo character you're talking about, there's a voodoo black woman that comes in the middle of the movie out of nowhere. Come with me, child. You know what I mean? Come here. If you want to live. You know, it's some Terminator shit. I mean, that you don't know who she is, and you never spend time with her enough to realize what role she's really playing in this. And
even the girls who were Nell's friends at the girls' homes,
barely sketched out.
Right. But in the beginning, it felt like they had something for them to do. Okay, they're bonding. Something's going to happen.
Even if it's just we're going to kill these girls off one by one, horror movie style. Okay, I'm in. We're used to that type of thing, but at least you get some gore effects. But no, they're just largely written out of the story entirely.
They just abandoned.
Because a few of them were hinted at as like, crossing that line of like, are they really her friends, or are they really there just to give her a hard time? And especially once they discover like the hell she's been through. Yeah. You thought they were going to play with that angle where you're going to have the one girl who pretends to be her friend to act like a super bitch to her. So, it's one of those things that the movie could have played with, where she's such a bitch, that when she gets it at the end, you are kind of like, good, she deserves it. But they don't even do that at all.
Right. And
no payoff.
The funniest thing to me during this whole thing was the point where the movie goes, here's what we're going to do that's different than what you've seen before. It's not just a devil who wants to possess someone again. The devil is in love with her. And I'm like, you know what? If you described that to me and said, this is going to be a really good comedy, I'd go, you know what? I do kind of want to see that. Sounds funny. Say, no, it's a horror movie. Oh, well, fuck that. What are you, an idiot? What are you thinking?
That's a ridiculous point. Anybody watch Treme?
Yeah.
Did
not the recent ones, but
okay,
I've
but
seen
you watch. It takes place in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's
the woman here, the one that the voodoo woman. Her name is Tara Riggs. Yeah, Miss Cleo. I was wondering if anybody knew the actress. I mean, I think it's the same woman.
She looked familiar, but I'm not sure if it was the same woman.
I didn't know. But you know what? There's a couple of black girls at the girls' home, and they both look like killer lesbians in prison. Right. And you should see one of the girls.
Last movie was Killer Lesbians in Prison.
Yeah. That's a good movie, man. You should watch
Deadly
that.
They should have made it instead of this one.
Right next to Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Rabid rug munchers.
But oh man, I don't know who the girl that was Daphne, but I think it was the one with cornrows.
Yeah,
that looked crazy. Man, look how this girl looks on IMDb right there.
Yow.
Yeah. I mean,
holy shit!
I know.
Was that after her exorcism? What the fuck?
Yeah, they exercised the ghetto out of them. People looking at this girl, Erica Michelle. She looks like a stone cold butch in a movie, man. And here she looks hot as hell on IMDb.
Well,
but yet I digress.
I refer you to Charlize Theron in Monster.
Well,
That's all special
I'm
effects.
just saying they can ugly up about anybody.
It just looked like cornrows made the difference here. You know?
She needs to get a new agent. I don't know what the hell she's doing in this movie. She needs to hook up with Tyler Perry.
I know. Yeah.
He'll utilize her to the fullest.
Everybody needs a new agent who's in this movie, except for Eli Roth, who should go stand in the corner until we tell him to stop.
I'm gonna get back on track. I would just make one notice right here. Do you notice that there are a lot of black people that are ugly in a lot of movies? But one thing I say about Tyler Perry, when they're in his movies, they look pretty.
Oh,
they
beautiful.
look handsome. Yeah, I don't know what happens, but anyway, man, I don't know what else I can say about this. This is bullshit. It's some old bullshit. The end of this movie, you guys mentioned it. It turns into it's a Photoshop project. I mean, it looks so bad. The special effects. This is one of the reasons why you just don't change from that kind of format. Obviously, they're working with the same budget they had from the first movie, and they tried to stretch it, and then they came up with a much, much worse project than they did. People, if you want to go see a movie where the only scares that you get for an hour is a picture dropping off the wall, a dog coming out the screen barking.
Yeah, there was everything but a cat jumping up.
Oh, that was the only thing. And I would have given them credit for that, but I can't do that. Even the guy that stands still on the street in New Orleans, even he was creeping up on people and surprising. There is not a scare in this movie. It keeps teasing you. And I said, I will let this movie get by with barely a pass if they do something really badass at the end. But the whole time they show you nothing. I'm just trying to warn you people. You get to see nothing. This is some more bullshit.
There was a jump for me in the very beginning with the husband in the bed and the wife sneaking through the house for whatever prowler. I
heard you laughing.
Yeah, they got me with one. Oh yeah, and the one when she's scared to fuck out of it.
Laughing because he's out there looking for something, and she goes, "Honey,"
He's like, "Shut the fuck up!"
You see, I'm trying to protect us.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You Mr. Raccoon, you just gonna let her do that?
I wish a director could have been in the theater just to hear that one scare from you. Go, yes, I succeeded.
Yeah, that would have been all he got. To me, this is the more I looked at, I was like, this movie was made because it's cheap to shoot in New Orleans. That's what it is. Louisiana is giving tax subsidies for filmmakers, and that's why you're getting a lot of movies there. And this just took advantage of that because there's almost no reason. It's like they had everybody still together, could get them for cheap, and had what was the beginning of a script and not a whole thing. And yeah, there's nothing here. I kept trying to go with it or trying to see things I could count on it for. And once it really got to the end, I was like, wow, that was a whole lot of fucking nothing. And I would have gave it a rental, but it's some more bullshit.
Yeah, I wish there was. The only thing I can say differently is I don't necessarily agree with you with your conceit that there's no way you could make a good live action film after a found footage one. I mean, you've got two examples now. It's like saying there'll never be a good superhero movie.
Okay,
but that being said,
I'm exaggerating. You know my motto.
Right.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. But that being said, I hope nobody tries anytime soon. Just stop making sequels to found footage films is a good rule.
Yeah, that's a good
I
rule.
think that's unfortunately never going to happen because they're so cheap to make. This was like somebody saying, like, "Hey, we don't need to do it found footage. People are getting sick of it, but I'm going to prove to you I can do it just as cheaply." And it shows. Every penny they saved is clearly evident in the lack of scares in this film and the lack of impressive special effects. I mean, if you're coming here looking for gore, don't. There's absolutely none. If you're coming here looking for cool devil effects, don't. There's absolutely none. If you're coming here looking for good acting, well, actually, to be fair, the lead actress is still pretty good in this. You know,
she's all right.
Yeah, she's all right. It just made me go, want a car, girl? You got to go somewhere else. I don't care. Look, I will find you a job, but not in this. Stop taking Eli Ross calls because this is some old bullshit.
Yes, sir. Co-host, you gonna break it? You gonna break the streak?
No. This movie was boring as fuck. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was really hoping to get something interesting out of it. But when they do these midnight movies, you just know you're gambling with
Eight times
that
out of 10.
Yeah, it's good 9 times out of 10. You are going to get exactly what you thought you'd get. Shit. And that's what I got. And this movie, not only, does it kind of betray the whole spirit of what the first one was, which, was purely original for an Exorcist movie. Sure, they threw in the found footage, but they managed to find something to do with it. The fact that they, just that they were just lazy. I mean, this movie is just all across the board laziness, and there's no real excuse for it. I mean, you could tell by right when the movie starts, you're just wondering, like, okay, where the hell are all the cops? How come nobody's investigating this chick? Because apparently, you're the first thing you get to know about what happened in those woods is that everyone's gone, everyone's dead. But hey, we got a house for you here. Hang out.
Yeah. How come she's not a suspect?
There's no suspect. Yeah, she's not a suspect. There's no investigation. You're just like, all right.
Well, if you had seen Tremaine, you'd know why there's no cops.
Hey, it's New Orleans, man.
And
cops don't do shit there.
And the other thing, if the fucking devil is after you, get the fuck out of New Orleans, please.
Yeah,
leave.
I kept thinking
that too.
Oh, you know what? I think the devil is the police chief in New Orleans.
Stay out of New Orleans and Georgia. Yes, he likes to go play fiddle there.
But oh man, but this suffers from the worst possible thing that could happen to a film, pure boredom. So it is a complete bullshit across the board.
That's the thing about these movies that we have to see at midnight because they don't do screenings for us. It's one thing that they're going to be bad. It's like, all right, you can be bad, but they end up being boring most of the time.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest crime of all.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that they found a month to put them all out, apparently. I mean, I've been looking at a list of the movies that have come out this month, and, I've been looking at them on Rotten Tomatoes, and nobody has even gotten to that 30% level. I'm like, wow. It's like, that's kind of sad,
Yeah.
Well, this ain't going to be the one to top it.
No, not at all. Not at all. I will tell you the only thing, and this is true, the biggest special effect, I'm just warning people, the biggest special effect that you get that is a true devil effect, this chick has an upset stomach. That's the biggest thing. Doing an exorcism, you get to see her stomach do the wave. And that's about the only thing. That's funny because I was getting sick to my stomach watching this goddamn movie.
Somebody needs to bless a roll aids.
I know. I was going to say, it's sad when a Pepto-Bismol commercial is scarier than the entire movie.
We're going to make you better. I promise. A piece of him is still inside you. We will summon him